Good afternoon, YouTube. This is Charles. I'm back at it on the 300. Had a little bit of delays this morning. My daughter was back from spring break and she's now headed back to college over at Ohio. And so we spent some time with her, had a little birthday party. Back at it this morning. Before all that happened, I worked on cleaning parts and inspecting. We're still not all there. We got this all. We had to, if you remember, the seized up Variator. This was filled with rust, and this is the original one. And then I have a second one from the parts combine back there. This one has egg-shaped holes that could be repaired. I put these through the blasting cabinet so I could inspect for cracks. This one has good round holes, so we're going to be using this Variator arm. Probably we'll be using the original holder that bolts onto the side of the combine, although they're both just as good. This one is from the parts combine. It's a little pitted there. I don't know that hurts anything. I ain't decided what one I'm going to use. This one, the single nut, is original. The threads have got to be chased. They've been boogered up from sliding back and forth through this hole. I don't see any cracks. This one is from the parts combine. And if you can see, its threads are really mangled. And I think this one, once it's chased, will be adequate. I don't really relish the thought of putting a ready rod through there. It could be done, but I don't think we need to when we have two parts here. So we have not got the Variator out yet. That's next, and then I will show you that. All right, don't know much about these. I haven't investigated them. All I did was remove them from the combine. They're heavy. They are heavy. Probably weigh 60 pounds a piece. I took them out, put the bolt right back in them. We have to look at our book. As most of you probably know, if you've been on Massey's, these move back and forth, and they change the speed of travel on the combine. This actually here, the new combines are hydraulically driven, and the old combines used what was called a traction drive belt. Traction drive belt is going to come from right there off the power output shaft. The Variator is mounted right in here, and then that pivots. There's a hydraulic cylinder that goes down in here, and that will move it with a lever in the cab up and down. It'll be right here, going very fast, spins very fast. And then the other belt goes down to the transmission, and which in turn, when you're in neutral, which I'm sure I am now, it will turn the transmission. And there's your gear shifter. You have 3 speeds, 1, 2, and 3. 3 being road gear, about 15 mile an hour. It's about all the faster it goes. These have a lot of tension. They're coming right off the power shaft, spinning, and they change position. The belts have tremendous amount of tension, tremendous amount of heat. They get extremely hot, but yet they hold up. It was a proven design. Now, of course, we have hydraulically driven combines, so there's no need for traction drive belts. Already been through the clutch way back in the beginning of this series, so we won't be going through that anytime soon. So we're getting the Variator ready to reinstall, and then we can put the traction drive belts on and start putting more. It's going to get really compact in here. There's a lot of stuff going on in here. And you'll see it as it's growing, as you've seen in today's video. That's on there with the main thrashing belt, and that's all done. But we have a lot of stuff going on in here, and this is going to get very tight, very close together, hard to work on items. So trying to do this by the numbers, hoping I don't have to take anything back off. But that can happen. And so now we'll continue to look at the parts we're using. In my first analysis, this is the one off the parts combine, and this middle thing feels like it's got play where it moves back and forth. That is pretty excessive amount of play. Now, this one is still pretty stiff. I don't know what the tolerances are. You can see I can move it with my hand, but it feels a lot tighter, although there we're picking up movement too. So maybe that is the way it is. The belts are going to pretty well keep it straight, but we're going to have to take it apart, and we're going to have to investigate what we find with each one of these so that we can keep track of all the parts. We'll reference our parts book, and we'll begin to tear these down in preparation for cleaning and reinstalling. I was hoping to have some stuff done and be reinstalling today, but family commitments take priority, and we are just getting stuff cleaned up today. So this weekend might be a cleanup weekend. I'm hoping today we spring forward tonight. I'm hoping to maybe pick up some hours in the evenings after work. I don't know that that's going to happen, but by this time next Saturday, we're going to be in the 70 degrees. And of course, eventually, we're going to have to cut some hay and do a little planting. But I'm going to try to stay on this best of my ability to keep moving forward. All right, we have looked at our book. Let me take you over there, and we will look at that. Here is the exploded view. Here and here. So we should, this is what we were working on this morning, and here we're going to be in the variable speed pulleys, traction drive. So that's where we're at. We got our parts over here. We have some parts that I already purchased, knowing this was coming up when I started on the project from Agco. So nothing to do but to do it. I'm going to try to lay these out in the order. These here, that appears to be a felt washer right there. I don't want to damage those threads. This is one long carriage bolt. There we go. This will have to be cleaned and degreased. Has a special square washer here that goes on it there when it goes into the slot on the arm. So having looked at that, let me get a pick. Oh, here's our spacer. That would have been in there. Have to make sure these are all in the proper order. Okay. You can see, typical, it's filled with dirt. It wouldn't have hurt to go give this thing a bath, but I'm not going to do that now. We'll work on disassembling it. And should have that now. We probably have got to take off all these bolts here, and then that will begin to disassemble it. Let me check my book. Now what you're going to notice before I take this off, if I wasn't going to be cleaning it, I would just mark it with a marker, but we are dealing with balancing because this spins very fast. Now the middle part does not appear that it could be anywhere when you put your belts on, is what I'm trying to say. So what I want to do is just make a little mark. When I put these back together, I want to make sure they're orientated the right way. So let me put a little mark on there. That shouldn't hurt anything, and that will give me the correct orientation, unless when I get in there I find there's like an alignment dowel or something. But I'm going to do that now, and that way if I clean this, I still have my marks. I decided to look in my books, and I found this picture about the hydraulic cylinder, which we will be into. Cylinder is already rebuilt. I have that done. But here's what she looks like when she's all together. So if you can get an idea where we're at, that's what it's going to look like right there. There's what we're working on, called the Variator. Very interesting discovery. This old technical manual has nothing that I can find on the Variator. Now it's for several different machines, 300, 410, and 510. Nothing speaks about disassembly of the Variator. My old 510 technical manual, nothing speaks of the Variator. I find that very interesting. Luckily, I have this copied one for the 540. And sliding pulley is supplied only as a balanced assembly. So I was correct on that. We want to be very careful. So now we're going to remove the through bolts and lift pulley flange from hub. Remove sliding pulley half. Do not disassemble. Remove hub assembly. So we do not want to disassemble that middle one because that's balanced. And then it'll go through the reassembly, and we will go to work. Well, those are tight. We're going to have to bump up our impact. All right, let's see if we can do it now. Ah, yeah, there we go. I will bring you back when I have this part. All right, let me get my gloves. See if we can lay that down and remove the half. Well, she appears to be pretty tight. 6 bolts are removed. Now, bolts, the side with the bolts came off. Okay, so there is that. He's filled with crop residue, which is to be expected. All right, there is our 1/2. Well, let's see what that does. Okay, that's not bad. Now we are not to take that apart, it says, because we're balanced. So we'll be cleaning that up. Oh, look, there's a felt seal in the middle. Okay, I think that's felt. Yes, it is. So, I guess if we determine that we are too loose on the shaft, you have to buy this as an assembly. It does have some play, but I don't know how much it's going to affect us. We might have to tear both of them down and determine that. There's how it is. This is all dirt. This is not a felt seal. Well, we got the dirt here. There we go. All right, you all, I've got a lot of cleaning to do, and I doubt you want to watch that. Now this should come out of that, I do believe. Yes, that is coming out. Ah! There we go. Now we have our assembly that we can go to work on the bearings and cleaning that. So let me clean up here and get rid of this dirt, and then we'll work on final disassembly. What we have it cleaned. And it says press one from Variator pulley hub. Press shaft 1 from Variator pulley hub. Remove bearings 1 from shaft and bearings 2 from hub. That's down here. Bearings fit tighter on shaft than in hub. Clean all old grease from parts. I am happy to report that we finally got into some SKF bearings, I believe. I have to get a magnifying glass to verify that. But that's what it looks like. I don't know if you can hear this. They are really dry. In the book it says to press, but I've seen some movement earlier. So I'm just going to do this. And there's that. And we have more degreasing to do. Now that grease there looks to me like some very good, clean, original grease. This is greasable. There is a grease zerk on it. We will have to make sure all our grease zerk passages are clean and ready to receive fresh grease. Back to degreasing. I'll catch up with you as soon as I have that done. We're going to conclude right here with the teardown. We tore down the second unit, and it appears to maybe be in better shape. I got the parts here soaking, and so we're going to do our comparison. And if we really get energetic, we might go outside and take one off tomorrow of the 300 outside and see what it looks like. However, I think that's a high hour machine. We're going to go send off some emails to our dealer, and we're going to also send off some bearing numbers to our bearing supplier and see who comes up with a better price. I also had this box of bearings from a 550. I'm going to start organizing those and see if any of them will cross over at the appointed time. Use up the assets that we have. This will conclude this episode disassembly of the Variator and cleaning and prepping for reinstall. I will probably go ahead and cut it right here. Thanks for watching. Like, share, and subscribe. And I want to do a special shout out to a fan that I did not even know I had. We had a family get together last weekend for my sister who flew in from New York. Little Ava came up to me. She's 5.5 years old. And she said, "I like your videos." So I'm shouting out to Grant, Ava, and Alex, my niece and nephew and brother-in-law. So thanks for watching. Like, share, and subscribe, and come back for more.